The following program is underwritten by the generous support of Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis and Lipan Insurance. Since 1852, they have been assisting both businesses and individuals across the country secure the most comprehensive insurance products available. Associates of Glens Falls is proud to partner with Central Insurance Companies. Public affairs programming on Look TV is underwritten by the generous support of Pinnell's Restaurant, classic Italian American food since 1922, and Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcomed. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Most cybersecurity firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
Let me call the meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. Tonight is a regular town board meeting. It's May 2nd, 2022. The time is 7 p.m. And before we begin the regular agenda items, would you all please stand and join Councilperson Anthony Meadowbeer in saying the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have 4 items for the Queensbury Board of Health, and so I entertain a motion to move into the Queensbury Board of Health.
Motion. Second.
Moved by Councilperson McNulty, seconded by, was it? Councilperson Freer. All right, all those in favor of moving into the Queensbury Board of Health, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And okay. All right. Any nays? I was just making sure that George wasn't on as an attendee.
No, he's not.
Okay. All right. So we're now into the Queensbury Board of Health. Karen, would you please introduce our first item?
Public hearing, sewage disposal variance application of Morgan Streitzman.
Okay. This is the second time that the Streitzman's application has been before us. They live at off a private road, off Cleverdale Road, just a little bit north of 9L. And it's the number is 19 Private Drive. And the 4 variances that we had given previously are the wastewater absorption field to be 71 foot from the well instead of the required 100 foot setback. Enhanced treatment unit to be 4 foot from the foundation instead of the required 10 foot setback. Third variance, pump tank to be 3 foot from the foundation instead of the required 10 foot setback. Fourth variance, wastewater absorption field to be 11 foot from the foundation instead of the required 20 foot setback. Fifth variance, wastewater absorption field to be 7 foot from the property line instead of the required 10 foot setback. At the time they made this application, they measured from their shoreline. And actually the measurement should have taken from their neighbor's shoreline because there was a little cove So they need to have one more variance. So that's why they're back here tonight. And the last variance is to be 84 foot from Lake George instead of the required 100-foot setback. So, Nick, if you would introduce yourself to the public, and then you can expand on what I just said a little bit more if you wish.
Yep. Good evening, Nick Zeglin with Environmental Design Partnership. As the supervisor said, we are here tonight looking for one more variance. It was discovered during the stakeout that we should be measuring from the southern property line. So the plans have a enhanced treatment unit with a UV unit as well. And they really didn't change much from that first application, but that's why we're here tonight. So I'll turn it back over to the board for any questions. Thank you.
All right, and I'll emphasize the fact that it does have a pre-treatment, a Norweco, and it does have a UV system as part of that pre-treatment, which are things that this board likes to see. I'll just highlight that. There is going to be a public hearing on this, but before I open the public hearing, is there any member of the board that wants to speak to this or ask a question of the applicant's agent?
My comment is just, this doesn't reflect well on your professionalism, and hopefully it's a mistake that doesn't repeat. So just try to be conscientious and comprehensive, because, we don't like just driving around.
All right. I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone here tonight that wishes to speak to this application? Okay. Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Town board, any thoughts before you go to a motion? Or does someone want to make a motion to approve? All right, motion made by Councilperson Medevere, seconded by Councilperson Freer. Roll call vote on this, please.
Okay, Councilperson Freer,
Yes.
McNulty,
Yes.
Stroud,
Yes.
Medevere.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, would you introduce 1.2 to the public, please, Karen?
Sure. The public hearing sewage disposal variance application of Michael Kraft.
All right, Michael Kraft, 309 Cleverdale Road. We did get one letter from Paul Skilapati, who's in favor of this application. And Michael Kraft of 309 Cleverdale Road is asking for 5 variances. First one, dispersal location be 55 foot from the neighbor's drinking well in lieu of the required 100-foot setback. Second variance, dispersal location be 6 foot from the property line in lieu of the required 10-foot setback. Third variance, dispersal location to be 5 foot from the dwelling which does not have a basement in lieu of the required 20-foot setback. Fourth variance, treatment tank and pumping station to be 3 foot from the dwelling in lieu of the required 10-foot setback. And fifth variance, treatment tank and pumping station to be 2.8 feet from the property line in lieu of the required 10-foot setback. And the agent for the applicant is present. And we did a site visit this afternoon. So if the agent would like to introduce themselves to the public and then expand on anything I said, you're welcome to do so.
My name is Eric Murdoch. I'm with On-Site Engineering. And this proposal includes putting in the Claris Fusion Enhanced Treatment Unit, followed by an ultraviolet light for disinfection. And this marks a remarkable improvement over the existing septic system that's there. The existing system is a cesspool that dates back to the 1920s. So we did the best job we could to maximize those separation distances to the neighbors' wells. but we feel that putting in this enhanced treatment unit with the disinfection mitigates those limited separation distances.
And you're using a Fusion ETU.
The Fusion, yeah.
Any questions for the applicant's agent before I open the public hearing? Seeing none, I'll open the public hearing. Is there anyone here tonight that wishes to speak to this application? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Any further thoughts or a motion to approve?
Just that we were at this site as well today, and it's a tough one, but I think you're doing the right thing, and I'm happy to make a motion to approve.
All right, motion made by Councilperson Freer, seconded by Councilperson McNulty. Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson McNulty?
Yes.
Stroud?
Yep.
Medevere?
Yes.
And Freer.
Yes.
All right, good luck. All right, would you introduce 1.3 to the public, please?
Sure, it's a public hearing, sewage disposal variance application of Christopher and Eva Detmier.
Okay, and there is a public hearing on this, and Christopher and Eva Detmer of 70 Browns Path. And they were here before previously, and we asked them if they could do something a little bit better than a traditional septic system, given the fact that it's adjacent to a wetland, and they did. And the applicant's agent, I believe agent, or is it the applicant before us?
I'm Dave Gars from Northeast Land Survey representing Ditmars.
Okay, so the agent. Yes, so if you wish to expand on what I said and explain the new system,
We're requesting one variance.
will you speak into the mic a little bit better, please?
We're requesting one variance for setback to the wetlands and the septic system. It is an approved lot in the old subdivision. We've added we worked with your staff to engineer an upgraded septic system and used an Eco septic system too.
And you're putting a pre-treatment in, and that's going to be a Norwaco.
Yep.
Does it have UV treatment as well?
Yes.
And the variance you're asking for is about 26 foot, so about 74 foot from the wetland instead of the required 100 foot setback.
That's correct.
Anything else? Town board, any questions for the applicant's agent before I open the public hearing?
Now, do we have to read in the letter we received?
No, well, I will mention it. We, as part of the public hearing. When I open it up, I'll explain.
You don't have to. The answer to your question is you don't have to.
Right.
Thank you.
We did receive.
Acknowledging it is very appropriate. You don't have to.
Okay, and that's what we're going to do. We did receive a letter from folks at the firm of Fitzgerald, Morris, Baker, and Firth, and they were concerned about the variance. I assume it's the variance of the 74 foot from the wetland in lieu of the required 100 foot setback. And that is an Army Corps of Engineer wetland, and the normal variance, the normal distance is 100 foot, but that's with the regular system, and we have an enhanced treatment unit system. And they talk about other variances that have nothing to do with this board. Okay, and
I might add that the site is on public water also. There's no well in that area.
okay, that's public water as well. All right, so is there anything else you would like to add before I open the public hearing?
No, so
Okay, so if you'll return to your seat, I'll call you back and see if you have any responses to anything that might be brought up. I'll open the public hearing. Please introduce yourself for the matter of the record, and Explain your concerns.
You mean Supervisor? Town Board? Mike Crow with Fitzgerald Morris Baker Firth on behalf of the Bartons, the neighbors at 66 Browns Path. And yes, just to reiterate again for the record, that was the letter from our firm dated April 28th that you were referring to. And I'd just like to expand on that without going into detail through each point. The two questions essentially that you're asking or is being asked of you in considering a variance is this the minimum relief necessary, and are there feasible alternatives? Last month when we were here discussing this, the feasible alternative that the applicant's agent was presenting to you was to work with the Army Corps of Engineers to move the wetlands back, and that would do away with the need for the variance altogether. And so that answer was again provided by the applicant that there is a feasible alternative, and that was the one that they were going to go with prior to this plan. And so from that standpoint, the answer to is there a feasible alternative? Yes, there is, that would do away with the need for this board to make a variance altogether. Second of all, in terms of the minimum relief necessary, I don't think we have a complete picture yet. And I say that because while we did address the other variances that are needed, and we understand those variances are not in front of you for a determination tonight, the fact of the matter is there's a number of variances that will have to be applied for and approved in order for this site to be built, that all happen within the 100-foot setback of the wetlands, including adding impervious surfaces, reducing vegetation, building the 4-bedroom house and garage, all things that can have a direct impact on the variance application that is before you. And so we're making a lot of changes in an area that's directly adjacent to the wetlands. And so we're not asking you to make a determination as to what those variances should be, but we believe that they should be considered as part of a comprehensive look in terms of what are those applications, what impact are those other applications going to have on the one that's before you? And I don't know the answer to that, but that's something that the town engineer can look at and possibly tell you, no, they'll have no impact on this, or maybe they will. Like I said, I can't speak to that, but I can say all those things are happening right within the immediately adjacent area. And so I believe at this point in time, in terms of the minimum relief necessary, you can't answer that question. What we can answer is that we don't need this variance at all because, as was stated at the last meeting, we can just push the wetland boundary back by going through the Army Corps of Engineers. That sounded like the direction that things were headed last month. And so, again, for those two reasons, I would say we either need to get more information or deny the variance and go through the Army Corps of Engineers.
Well, I'm looking at the lot, and it is a valid lot. It was created, approved, and so forth. So somebody's going to build something on it someday. And I'm looking at where the wetlands are located and where the leach field is. And there's absolutely no other spot, and I did a measurement, there's no other spot on this lot where you could move that leach field any farther away from the wetlands other than where it's currently being proposed to locate.
Sure, and I don't know that you can move it any further away, but I guess the point was at the last meeting was that you could move the boundary of the wetlands further away from the septic. That's the point that the agent was making at the last meeting.
Well, I'm not sure if that's a good idea or not, but given what I've been given here, That's probably the best location for the leach field, given that something's gonna locate in this lot. It's a bona fide lot. It's an approved lot. And they are putting in an enhanced treatment field.
Sure, and they're also putting in a garage in a 4-bedroom house and a driveway. And they're cutting down trees.
Yeah, that doesn't have anything to do with us.
Actually, it does though,
No,
because all of that changes the makeup of the lot, all within the area adjacent to the wetlands.
well, I don't think the boards are gonna look at this unless they can show they can at least get a septic system in. They have town water. There's no municipal septic here. So they have to have an on-site septic system of some kind. The first one they came to us with was a traditional system, and we thought they could go better, it costs more, but the water that goes out to the leach field has been treated aerobically and anaerobically. So,
Right, and like I said, I'm not an engineer, so I don't know the impacts that those other variances may have on the wetlands, and then also then on the variance for the setback for the sewage. But it's a 100-foot setback for a reason.
yeah, with a traditional field, but this has been pre-treated.
Sure, but the code does not distinguish between that. There isn't a setback for one and a lesser setback
I
for
think
the other.
75A has some catching up to do. Anyways, that's just where I'm coming at it. I have to see this as a potentially buildable lot, but while the applicant's agent is up here, are there any thoughts, concerns, questions you would like to direct towards?
I think just some education.
The agent for the opposition to this.
Yeah, and as John, you said, it can't go forward without this approval. So the other variants that you mentioned, which may or may not be required, will not come before the health board, it will come before the planning board. And your discussions will be valid then in terms of the variances they request. Our question is the septic system.
Sure, but if you look at each one of them in a segmented fashion.
And we are, because they can't go forward with any request until they have an approved septic system, as the supervisor just said. So you'll have your chance to discuss these concerns that you have, and I don't know how you move a wetlands boundary. That's beyond me as well. But in terms of, as you're saying, how we go forward, nothing happens until this is approved, until this variance is approved. And then the owner has to develop his plans and go before the planning board and lay out everything that all the issues that you raised. But nothing happens until the septic system's approved. And I don't know if this owner's agent has anything else to add, but I'm okay with this.
And Councilman McNulty, possibly the zoning board of appeals as opposed to an addition to the plan.
John,
Thank you.
It turned green.
It turned green. Yes, it did. What I said to Councilman McNulty was possibly our zoning board of appeals instead of or in addition to our planning board, but his point is accurate.
Okay. Anything else, Mike?
No, I guess I just reiterate that it is then the segmented view that causes the problem. And so it is the fact that we're dealing with the wetlands in one specific area with multiple different variances, and all of those need to be looked at comprehensively and not in a segmented fashion.
Yeah, but we
got it.
Yeah.
We're looking at the septic system.
We're looking at the septic system.
And
We understand your point, but that's not how we're set up. So thank you.
yeah, and if you take a look at Lake George, and this board is very concerned with what we do and human activity and how it negatively impacts Lake George, we almost always insist on having an ETU system for shoreline properties. And this is a wetland, and I'm not saying one's more important than the other, but we allow them for Lake George. And why would we disallow them if they put in a ETU for a wetland? I mean, I think the board's going to be fairly confident that this is probably one of the safest systems to put in where it's being located. This site certainly has its challenges, given that. But we're looking at the septic system. Are we happy or not? I mean, this board hasn't voted yet, but we're here to listen. And if there's anything else you'd like to say, you're welcome to do so.
No, I'll rely on everything else was in the letter. There's some other public comments as well, and I would just say that I think it requires the town engineer to take a further look at it. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Anybody else from the audience like to speak to this application? Please introduce yourself to the public and for the records, and then share your thoughts.
Good evening. My name is Chuck Barton. I reside with my wife Kim at 66 Brown Path, and you just heard the hearing from the testimony from our attorney. We understand the procedural aspects of this, that the entire development needs to be seen in front of several boards. We were here at the last public hearing expressing concern about this application and how incomplete it was. Technical people went back and they've made an improvement, and they made an appropriate improvement. But they also identified several other variances that are necessary. And we understand that will be for other boards to be heard. We just want to express our concerns that there are so many variances necessary for this lot. It is an irregular lot, and it does have wetlands. And at a time when upstate towns are being inundated with people moving from metropolitan areas looking to push the limit on development of lots, we have to stop somewhere. And I think this is a good example where if we allow all these variances, we're going to have a very irregular lot with wetlands being developed. And if it's not this lot, then it could be future lots.
But again, Chuck, this board is the Board of Health. We're looking at the septic system. Just one variance. That's what we're looking at. And we did not approve. We listened to you the first time through. Traditional system, given the wetland, we didn't find that acceptable either. With a pre-treatment, and one of the best, that does anaerobic and aerobic, and makes that water go into the field almost drinkable. They say drinkable, but I'm not going to go there. That's how pure the water is before it gets to the ground. You couldn't ask for a better system. And one variance, and it's 26 feet.
We understand that, and we applaud the applicant improving the system. But we need to point out that perhaps that wouldn't have happened if we didn't raise these issues. We understand we have other boards to go in front of to express our concerns, and we accept that.
And because you raised the issue, you are getting a better system, and I want to thank you for that.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you. Anybody else like to speak to this application? Yes, sir, please come forward. Identify yourself for the record and share your thoughts or concerns.
Tom Kabricki, 80 Oak Valley Way. I want to just, I hear the blue sky being talked, and I want to just let everybody know about Brown's Path.
Tom, would you speak into the mic?
There's 6 houses in there that wouldn't meet the setbacks of today's standards in there for a septic system. There's roughly 5 to 6 houses that wouldn't meet that setback for the septic setbacks of the standards for today, the 100-foot setbacks. And we're talking about other variances needed. There's 4 houses in there that are 36 feet from the wetlands. Their structure is now. So I know the system that the Detmars are proposing to put in is probably the most advanced systems I've ever seen in my life, actually.
But again, Tom, we're not here to look at the variance of the structure from the wetland.
I know you're not.
Another board will look at that.
You are correct. Yeah. Okay, that's all I had to say.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Anybody else? All right, the agent for the applicant, would you please return to the table? And do you have any thoughts after hearing some of the concerns? Town board, any questions for the applicant's agent?
So I guess this gets to the point that I made on several of these with regard to, I think we need to limit the approval with the stipulation that the applicant complies with the OEM's maintenance for the life of the system. I think by rule it's 5 years, but my worry is that after somebody else moves in and out, people ignore the required maintenance, and I think we need to stipulate that in our passing of this.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I think it sets a standard, and we want to be consistent with that.
Yeah. Okay. It's an expensive system, and if any homeowner does go in on this lot to not do the maintenance on this ETU, it's going to be a very expensive lesson. Any other conditions that you would like to add or thoughts? Town council, did you approve an amendment to the resolution that we might wish to consider?
No, I did not, because it's not up to me to approve it. However, I did prepare one.
Would you share that with us?
I believe the suggestion from the council was that the applicant comply with all system maintenance requirements. I wrote applicant or successors comply with all system maintenance requirements, so that the burden goes with the land. It's not specific to the applicant.
Okay, that's acceptable to the board, amended as you so stated. All right. Is there a motion to approve? I'll close the public hearing. Thank you, Karen. I'll entertain a motion to approve. Motion to approve. Motion to approve by Councilperson McNulty, seconded by Tony, Councilperson Medevere. Roll call vote, please.
Councilperson McNulty?
Yes.
Stroud?
Yes.
Medevere?
Yes.
Freer?
Yes.
All right. Those of you that have your concerns about the other variances, that's another board. All right, well, thank you for coming. One point four, Karen, when you ready?
Sure. Resolution setting public hearing on sewage disposal variance application of Robert and Jean Ferrand.
All right, well, this is to set a public hearing on this sewage disposal variance application. It is for Robert and Jean Tarrant, 308 Cleverdale Road, lot 226.12-1-82. They are seeking 9 variances, and the public hearing is going to be on May 16th. And the variances they are seeking are as follows. 1, absorption field toe of fill to be 81 feet from the westerly well in lieu of the required 100-foot setback. 2, absorption field toe of fill to be 2 foot from the northerly property line in lieu of the required 10-foot setback. 3, Fuji Clean enhanced treatment unit to be 5 foot from the house in lieu of the required 10-foot setback. 4, Fuji Clean ETU to be 7 foot from the northerly property line in lieu of the required 10-foot setback. 5, pump station to be 40 foot from Lake George shoreline in lieu of the required 50-foot setback. 6, variance, pump station to be 7 foot from the property line in lieu of the required 10-foot setback. 7th variance, pump station to be 4.5 feet from the house in lieu of the required 10-foot setback. Force main to be 3 foot from the house in lieu of the required 10-foot setback. And the 9th and last variance, force main to be 43 feet from Lake George shoreline in lieu of the required 50-foot setback. And this is for property located at 308 Cleverdale Road. And the public hearing will be May 16th if set by this town board. Do I have a motion to set the public hearing for May 16th?
Second.
Moved by Councilperson Medevere, seconded by Councilperson Freer. Roll call vote on setting the public hearing, please.
Sure. Councilperson Stroud?
Yes.
Medevere?
Yes.
Greer?
Yes.
Melton?
Yes. Okay. That does it for the Board of Health. So a motion to move out of the Board of Health.
So move it. Do you need an agenda?
All right. Motion to move out of the Board of Health by Councilperson Medevere, seconded by Councilperson Freer. All those in favor of moving out of the Queensbury Board of Health, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, it's unanimous. We're now out of the Queensbury Board of Health. Now we have a public hearing, and would you introduce the public hearing to the public?
Yep. Is public hearing proposed extension number 2 to Greater Queensbury Consolidated Sanitary Sewer District to serve Tidal Wave Auto Spa located at 708 Quaker Road, Queensbury.
All right, well, this is the car wash that's down towards the Dixon Road, Quaker Road intersection. And when it was built, we, being the town of Queensbury, did not have a sewer line that far down Quaker Road yet. There was, however, a sewer line on Dix Avenue. That was the city of Glens Falls. So the city of Glens Falls gave them permission to tie into their sewer. The problem with that is, according to the city, among other things, is if they don't pay their sewer rent, it's tough for them to get it because they're in another town. All right, for that reason and others, Chris Harrington, our wastewater director, had asked the new applicant if they would consider tying into the Queensbury line on Quaker Road. And they said yes, they would do that. So that would cost them extra money, but it saves a lot of people a lot of headaches. So this requires an extension to the town's Greater Queensbury Consolidated Sanitary Sewer District, to be known as the Greater Queensbury Consolidated Sanitary Sewer District number 2, to serve Tidal Wave Auto Spa, located at 708 Quaker Road in the town of Queensbury, tax map number 303.15-1-1-12, in accordance with New York Town Law Article 12-A. And the extension number 2 has been determined to be a State Environmental Quality Review Act unlisted action, and a seeker short environmental assessment form has been prepared. So after the public hearing, town council will lead us through the seeker format, and we'll move on as the board wishes to. But there is a public hearing on this tonight. Is there anybody present that wishes to speak to this sewer district extension? Pretty much described as I told you, why it's happening. So I'll open the public hearing. No interest? All right, thank you. I'll close the public hearing and entertain a vote. Oh yeah, we gotta do secret. Yeah.
I think we're reviewing the short environmental assessment form. I believe it was prepared by an applicant's representative and signed on April 5th, the representative Marty Murphy. That's a short form. We can go through the questions in part 2 if the board is ready.
Yeah.
Will proposed action create a material conflict with an adopted land use plan or zoning regulation?
No.
Will proposed action result in a change in the use or intensity of use of land?
No.
Will proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
No.
Will proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area?
No.
Will proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affect existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway?
No.
Will proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities.
No.
Will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies,
No.
public or private wastewater treatment utilities?
Nope. No, we're small impact.
Yep, good answer. Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources?
No.
Will proposed action result in adverse change to natural resources such as wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, or fauna?
No.
Will proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems?
No.
And finally, will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health?
No. So the proposed action will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts. And so we have 21A and 21B. And 21A deals with the seeker determination, and 21B deals with approving the Greater Queensbury Consolidated Extension Number 2 to serve tidal wave auto spa located. Can we do both of these at the same time, or should we do them separately?
As long as there are no differences in the voting, you could do them together if you like. That's your risk.
Are you
Probably a
comfortable
low
with
risk.
24A and 24B simultaneously? Yeah, the answer is yes. All right, is there a motion?
John, I do have a question.
Yeah.
Before we start off.
Okay.
Any fees associated with this,
Just treat them
the owner will pay those, right? The town's unincorporated.
That's correct.
Okay, thank you.
Good point. All right, any other thoughts, questions? All right, motion to approve 2.1A and 2.1B. Moved by Councilperson Medevere, seconded by Councilperson McNulty. Roll call on 2.1A and 2.1B, please.
Okay, Councilperson Freer,
Yes.
McNulty,
Yes.
Stroud,
Yes.
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 Okay. All right. Next, we have resolutions. There's 13 resolutions. I'll explain each of the resolutions to the public. And I'll give the public an opportunity to speak to any of the resolutions before this board tonight. And before we vote on. Okay. Introduce 4.1 to the public, please, Karen.
Sure. Resolution authorizing agreement between Town of Queensbury and the Conklin Center.
All right, the Conklin Center. We help pay for their transportation. They transport elders to the doctor's offices, to shopping, and so forth. And this is to $10,000 to help defray some of the operational costs of the Conklin Center's on-the-go transportation program during 2022. And there's a lot of Queensbury residents involved with this, so that's what 4.1 is. 4.2.
Resolution authorizing agreement between Town of Queensbury and Bluffsville Area Youth Center.
All right, and we always contribute to the youth center because it does so much for our kids. A lot of them are underprivileged, and they will receive food and meals there. They will receive tutoring there. There's focusing on the future, mind, body, and spirit education program. There is a STEAM initiative that is math, science, engineering, technology, and it goes on. They do a lot for the youth as a youth center that many of these kids would not have received otherwise. So this is for $12,000. 4.3.
Resolution authorizing agreement with Warren County Historical Society.
All right, Warren County Historical Society puts on many programs that are offered free to the public, but they do cost to put them on. And this is to help defray the costs of the many programs that the Historical Society offers us. 4.4.
Resolution authorizing agreement with New York Spider Writers, Inc.
All right, the Spiders had asked for much more, but we think it's more of a county thing, but they do have a direct impact on Queensbury, a positive impact, economic impact in terms of the hotel rooms and the restaurants and the shopping that these people do. So we're offering to give them $3,000 for promotion of the event. 4.5.
Resolution authorizing change order number 1 to electrical contract with Harold R. Clue Inc. in connection with Highway Storage Building Capital Project number 238.
All right, there's a lot of additional things for the highway new building that's going to be used for storage as well as maintenance of our equipment. And the additional charges came to $2,046.94 for Harold Clune. 4.6.
Resolution authorizing transfer of funds from undesignated general fund balance to replenish capital reserve number 64.
All right, our capital reserve is down. We're spending it on capital things, and we need to replenish that. And we have the money to do it. We should do it now by putting $1.25 million into the capital reserve number 64. 4.7.
Resolution to amend 2021 and 2022 town budget.
All right, well, one is insurance recovery, and then we're buying more traffic signs. So it's moving dollars from where we thought they might be needed but aren't, and to where they definitely are needed. 4.8.
Resolution authorizing acceptance of funds from town cemeteries commission for electrical work at Pontiac Cemetery.
All right, this is a capital project that was approved by the town board to put in a floating fountain with a lighting kit in the pond, which is there, which will help aerate the pond, which is too stagnant, and for a cost of $8,950 to Madison Contracting. 4.9.
Resolution authorizing purchase of floating dock from the doctors for capital project at Glen Lake Boat Launch Area.
All right, they need a new dock system there, and this is the amount of $14,680.40. 410.
Resolution authorizing agreement between Town of Queensbury and Queensbury Youth Football.
All right, there's a new football organization for youth, and they need some money to get things started and buy equipment and everything, and they would be able to work with $5,000 that the town is going to donate towards that. 4.11.
Resolution authorizing sale of obsolete large format scanner printer to Town of King.
All right, our scanner printer is on the downside, but the town of King would like it. They don't have anything like that, and even though it's, and we told them there's not much life left in it, they'd still like to have it, so we'd give it to another municipality, I think for $1, yeah. 412.
Resolution approving audit of bills for May 3rd, 2022.
All right, the bills totaled $972,233.39. And 413.
Resolution setting public hearing on 2022 emergency ambulance services agreement between Town of Queensbury and North Queensbury Rescue Squad Inc.
Okay, well, we were rushing around today, and I want to help. I want to thank the folks up at North Queensbury Volunteer Rescue Squad. Todd Mahoney's here, John Hodgkins is here, Ray Kraft is not here. All right, Risa and Maureen, thank you for everything that you're doing for us. And I think what we're going to end up with is they're going to collaborate with Bay Ridge Rescue Squad, and they're going to come up between the two of them with better coverage than the two as a standalone could do. This required cooperation, it required guts, it required taking a look at the way things have been and try something new. I got to give everybody credit here. I got to give them all credit. Thank you for everything that you've done and are working on. We'll try this. So we're going to have a public hearing on this, and this is to set the public hearing. And it will be for our May 16th meeting. And it's a contract. And the contract contains the agreement that they worked out with Bay Ridge and both have signed. And it also includes $54,500 for operating expenses and insurance, and $14,600 for debt service, $235,500 for paid staffing, and a total of $304,600. Now, Bay Ridge is going to do the paid staffing. They're both are going to do the interviews. They're both going to be involved with the hiring process. They're both going to be involved in the decision making. But the end product is what I can see is both are going to end up with enhanced programs, better serving their residents in North Queensbury and the residents on the Bay Ridge part of town as well. So again, the public hearing on this will be May 14th, and this will be for a contract that begins June 1st of this year and ends at December 31st of this year. So this is just to set the public hearing down. And those are the resolutions before us. If there's any member of the public that wishes to share thoughts, you're welcome to do so at this point on any of the resolutions. Seeing none, are there any of the resolutions that any member, for whatever reason, would like to have pulled for a roll call?
I just want to clarify, you just said that the public hearing would be on May 14th, it's May 16th.
May 16th, thank you, Tony.
Yep. But
May
no, I don't have
16th.
anything pulled.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm going to vote for the football one, but I just want to point out that the trend toward youth football is going down. And when I see football now, I'm turning into a real internationalist, and I think of soccer. So we'll have to keep an eye on, the youth football status. And again, I plan on supporting it, but it makes me a little nervous that they should be playing soccer instead of U.S. football.
All right. I'm not sure everyone would agree with you, but that's okay. Any other thoughts? All right. Do I have a motion to approve resolutions 4.1 through 4.13? Moved by Councilperson Medevere, seconded by Councilperson Freer. Roll call vote on the resolutions, please, Karen.
Sure. Councilperson McNulty?
Yes.
Stroud?
Yes.
Medevere?
Yes.
Burke?
Yes.
All right. Next, any correspondence, Karen?
No.
No correspondence. Next is an opportunity for any member of the public to speak to the town board about any town topic. Is there anybody out in the audience that wishes to do so? Yes, sir. Please come forward and just give us your name for the record and share your thoughts.
Good evening. My name is John Burke, 1376 Bay Road. I was hoping somebody else was going to talk, but I might have. I apologize if this has already been addressed, but I was just wondering, the road detour on Bay Road at the firehouse. Is there? I look every day hoping that there's someone going to throw some gravel on there or something about this. Wondering if there's an update on it. And like I said, if you guys already addressed this, I'm sorry.
No, we didn't. And thank you for asking.
Good question. I asked the same one today.
Yeah, you did.
I just looked to see maybe they're going to do something today. And
what we had hoped, John, was that after we unearthed the culvert, that we could put, some sheets of steel over it, bury it back up until we get a design, and then we get the materials, and then we get the contractor, and then we rebuild it, which has to be done ultimately. What happened was the culvert is in such bad shape. There was nothing they dared to do. So they left it open. I asked Kevin Hajos, who is the superintendent of the DPW, which includes highways, and that is a county highway, Bay Road. I asked him about it, and he said, John, I'll be able to tell you a little bit more at the beginning of next week once the design is supposed to be done. It's supposed to be done today, tomorrow, in the beginning of the week, he said. Then once we know the design, we will know what materials we have to order, and we'll probably be able to give you a calendar. but expect it to be closed for at least a month.
Well, another month. Okay, thank you.
Not good news, but
It's, you know,
what was happening is the road was failing. And so we sent some guys down to look at the culvert, and the culvert's failing. So the whole thing was about to go down. So it's a good thing somebody had noticed that and called that in.
you know, the code, is that the ducking? Like,
Yeah,
I'm thinking
yeah.
it has something to do with a stream.
Well, here's part of the problem. It's an 8-foot culvert. The stream is 20 foot wide, and the culvert side is supposed to be 1.25, excuse me, the width of the widest part of the stream. So the culvert is supposed to be a little bit larger than the stream. The stream's 20, the culvert's 8 foot. That's a problem right there. And, you know, that's not the only culvert in town we're working on. Luzerne Road, Butler Pond Road blew out. We had to replace that. These huge events, these heavy water events, we're getting grant money to replace these culverts, and we're doing them as we set a priority. We're triaging them, and this one looks the worst. This Bay Road one caught us off guard, I have to admit.
Well, can I just add, John, for the public, is that Bay Road just north of Quaker will be closed for 6 weeks this summer when we have all the tourists running around here to replace that culvert, which is undersized, where Halfway Brook goes under Bay Road right there south of Lowe's. So if you live north of Lowe's, you'll be able to get there. Otherwise, there'll be detours for, they say 6 weeks. It's a county project. They approved it a year and a half ago. And so they're trying to get all their ducks in line so they can, don't have delays for.
It'll be open, like, if you're coming from the north to go, like, down Harvest, like where the Harvest is. It's gonna be.
It'll be Glenwood. It'll be Glenwood will be the detour.
Between Glenwood and Quaker. Almost right next to Quaker. You know where we have the flag and the rocks that says Queensbury 1762, and when we put banners there, and we put flowers there, the corner on Bay Road and Quaker, it's right behind that. They're closing all the Bay Road off for July and August. So
It's not the town's fault, it's somebody else's fault.
That again is a county road, but it's turned into a federal project, big money. So they're putting like 4 bridge type culverts underneath there.
I don't know if I'm like the mayor of Bay Road now, but when I was telling my wife I was coming here, she said, "You're not gonna come that guy, the guy who saw the marina, John, God rest his soul." She said, "You're not gonna come that guy." I go, "Oh, we'll see." So
Yeah.
I'd be honored.
No.
Thank you for answering my question.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, you're welcome. Anybody else like to speak to the town board about any town topics? Or even county topics that are in the town? And we have the deputy highway superintendent here. Mark Muir. All right, well, seeing no other interest for other things, why don't we go to town board discussions and start off with Tim McNulty.
Couple of things, John. Thank you. The traffic study on Corinth Road that we've been talking about for some time, the tentative date for the release of the findings is the 24th of May. Based on the way that it was funded, they're going to give the presentation to the county DPW. I hope to be able to attend. If not, we'll get a copy of it, so I'll be able to share what those results are. We continue to gather data and talk to interested parties about short-term rentals. Any work on the Granicus data?
They're having a problem with Granicus.
They are?
Yeah.
Okay.
I can elaborate.
Okay. I'm glad you recognize Mark Demers. We've had some interesting emails going back and forth. Last meeting, I spoke to highway signs for kids playing, drive slow. There was some discussion with council and then with our insurance agents about whether there were concerns about putting up those signs. Provided, and please correct me if I'm wrong, Council, provided the signs are put up in accordance with all state regulations, there's no adverse reaction or concerns from the insurance company about putting these signs up. Now, highway department is concerned about, what was the term? Highway sign pollution. So as a town board, we need to be careful where we're going to request them. But if it is available, it's another one of our tools to be able to control traffic in the town. I've got a couple of roads that have already expressed a desire to do that. And the last, a little bit out of my lane, I think we all got a copy of the Trackies note, family that lives in Jenkinsville. Obviously, they're beginning to get a little frustrated, which is understandable. But the concern about regular updates didn't we commit to either being or the town? And again, I don't participate in your meeting, so perhaps we can talk about it. But we are committed to regular updates to the residents, aren't we?
Oh, yeah, we are.
And we've been providing them as well.
Okay, so they're just not getting them?
I don't know.
Okay.
Well, and the other reason is the Trackies were the one that asked the question. Why is my well not reading any contamination and my neighbor's wells are? We're trying to respond to that question.
Okay.
And I'm not sure as to the confusion.
I don't know.
But what we're doing is trying to respond to their question.
Okay. As long as we give them the regular updates.
Okay.
And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Harrison?
Well, I'm not sure that the North Queensbury EMS hasn't worn out one of our council members, but congratulations for working with George and John on resolving that. George can't even show up tonight, so I'm not sure that you haven't worn him out, but we'll keep track of him. I'm going to continue on that theme and recognize and congratulate Mr. Strau on his many years serving on the SUNY Board of Trustees. He was recently honored deservedly as he stepped off of that task. And continuing on that theme, this Thursday he gets even older than he already is. So I want to wish him a happy birthday and hope he has fun on his birthday coming up. As Tim mentioned, the short-term rental activities informally are continuing. I just want to reassure the public that there's no intent to rush this, and that no earlier than the first of the year will we be trying to put any other restrictions or changes to our short-term rental law. We will have a workshop, a couple of public hearings, hopefully, and take inputs. We don't want to rush into this. There's a lot going on in this ecosystem, some good, some bad, and we're trying to balance property owner interest and community character interest with this bill, and I think we're on the right track, and I hope people continue to make their issues known for us. And I'll stop there. Thanks.
All right, thank you, Harrison. Tony?
I wanted to, Mr. Burke, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been getting a few calls on Bay Road. People are getting very frustrated. Yeah, you can call me anytime. But I did email Jim LaFar, Sheriff LaFar, to ask him to have the deputies just monitor the road, walk up cutoff. I guess they're, with all the extra traffic, there's a lot of speeding going on, even though we had put the sign up.
They're flying.
What, flying?
They're flying like crazy.
Yeah.
Keep in mind, I do this 10 times a day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know the gentleman, but I'm one of your neighbors at 1324.
So I don't know. I know people are frustrated, and they said, you need to figure out another detour. I don't know what we could possibly do there. But
Don't use Ridge.
yeah, we're gonna be.
Ridge is getting repaved from Meadow to Cronin. They will keep one lane open, but they're going to work their way northward, starting there immediately within, I think, next week.
Wow. Mm-hmm.
So, John, figure out another way to get around.
And I went to the barbershop quartet on Saturday night. I did welcome the groups. I have to tell you, it was a fun evening. It was a lot of fun. The performers were amazing, and it was a good crowd. It wasn't, over the top, but I will tell you that as we were walking out, my wife pointed out to me the fact that there was only one car in the whole parking lot with a New York plate, and that was ours. Every car in the Queensbury school parking lot was Massachusetts, Pennsylvania, New Hampshire, Vermont. So I don't know if we got our money's worth out of this, but I think so. It was a great event. I hope they come back. Just so much fun. And it was a lot of people that I spoke to that had never been here before.
Yeah.
So they would love to come back.
How many attendees were there? Was it well attended?
No, I wouldn't say well attended. I would say maybe if you look at the Queensbury Auditorium, 75% full. I mean, it wasn't bad, but I was a little disappointed, mostly because it was just so much fun and it was so good that it's a shame that people missed it. And I mean, it was a barbershop quartet. How often do you listen to those? You don't. But the fact is, I got to, and it was not that I'm going to be a groupie, but it was a lot of fun. My wife absolutely loved it. So if they come back next year, I will be there.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yep.
Anything else?
Nope.
Okay. Well, I've got several things. Now, Karen O'Brien, who you've seen guiding us in many of these town board meetings, is going to retire, although we hope you come back part-time. Her expertise is like no other I've seen in the town clerk's office. If you want something done and you want it done right, Karen is your person. Not that they have other capable persons, but Karen is one of those capable persons. And I just want to thank you, you and your husband, John O'Brien, who is now the Director of Building and Codes. You've done so much for our community. We're going to miss you. And because this is your last town board meeting. So who's going to be around to tell me, John, you haven't closed the public hearing? As you always do, and I thank you for that. And I thank you for your other guidance, which you've always been right on. We're going to miss you, and I've got more to say at a later time, but since this is your last town board meeting, I wanted to say something in recognition for all the work and wonderful things you've done for the town. Thank you. I appreciate it. Also, we have the spring cleanup, and next year we might have some rules on brush or something. Well, you don't have to respond to me. Next year we're going to be fine tuning this brush thing.
We've claimed to have new rules, but it sounds like my guy on the bigger truck is taking everything. And that's what he's accustomed to doing.
All right, but we're going to work on that one.
Yes.
Because it's become huge. In any event, your yard waste must be in a biodegradable bag, and Ward 3 is done. Ward 4 waste must be up by May 8th. That's coming up quick. Ward 2, May 15th. Ward 1, May 22nd.
Sir, we're still in Ward 3. Mostly recanvassing the 2 weeks.
All right. Okay, we're still on Ward 3. I was corrected. But the rest of it's right?
Yes.
Okay. Are we still looking for folks from the community to be on the Comprehensive Land Use Plan Steering Committee?
One realtor approached me after our meeting last week. Stu has been out, as you may be aware of, with COVID. I would think yes. If there's any interested parties that let us know, we will reach out to them.
Well, if not, we have 2 openings on the planning board for alternates and 1 opening on the ZBA for alternates. So we got 3 openings on our boards. Also, I was in Saturday and Sunday doing mostly work on the Memorial Day parade. Hopefully, if we don't get rained out or COVID takes another storm approach, we will have a parade this year. The theme for our parade this year is Our Freedom, Their Sacrifice. Let's keep in mind what Memorial Day is. It's not Veterans Day, it's Memorial Day. It's a day to commemorate all the men and women who died while serving in the military, who paid the ultimate sacrifice for protecting our freedoms. So we would very much like your presence, be part of the parade. And following the parade around 11:30 in the morning, it lasts for about 45 minutes, we have a remembrance ceremony. With the Queensbury High School Band will be playing, and we have guest speakers. Mike White will be the keynote speaker, and we have a very good program. Mike Hoig is the department commander of the New York State VFW, and he's a local guy. We're still looking for volunteers for our homebound senior meal delivery program. So if you can do a 3 days a week or more to help deliver meals, and we can use them in the Queensbury area, by the way, please call this number if you can help out, 518-761-6347. All right, we have a rabies vaccination clinic, May 14th, right here at the community center, 10 to noon. We do have others. There are 5 others. That's the first of 6. The others are July 16th, August 13th, September 17th, October 15th, November 5th. So the first one is May 14th, right here in the Activity Center, 10 till noon. Okay. And Queensbury seniors, what a great group of people, well organized. They do a lot of fun stuff. The activities in this building are all day long, including sometimes weekends, but day trips, weekend trips, they know how to have fun. If you're not a member, it's not expensive. Just go to the website, and it'll give you the information to contact to become a member. All right, with that out of the way, I would like to thank Joel Barlow, Jesse Jackson, and Look TV, which is Look TV Resource Media now? Media Resource. Media Resource, okay. And our town council, Mark Shatner, thank you. And our deputy town clerk, Karen O'Brien. Yeah. And town board, thank you, members and members of the public, thank you. Motion to adjourn? Motion. Motion made by Councilperson McNulty, seconded by Councilperson Freer. All those in favor of adjourning, please signify by saying aye. Aye. We're now adjourned.
The following program is underwritten by the generous support of Associates of Glens Falls and Loomis and Lipan Insurance. Since 1852, they have been assisting both businesses and individuals across the country secure the most comprehensive insurance products available. Associates of Glens Falls is proud to partner with Central Insurance Companies. Public affairs programming on Look TV is underwritten by the generous support of Pinnell's Restaurant, classic Italian-American food since 1922, and Stored Tech, technology solutions for computers, networks, and phone. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.
1922, Babe Ruth debuts with the Yankees. WGY signs on air. Exterminator wins the Saratoga Cup, and Pinnell's Restaurant opens its doors for the very first time. For 5 generations, Pinnell's has been preparing delicious Italian food, served in a comfortable, home-like setting where everyone is welcomed. 90 years of authentic Italian recipes, 90 years of the freshest ingredients, and 90 years of the finest classic Italian dishes, all made daily by hand. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga dining tradition since 1922.
Most cybersecurity firms deal only with prevention, the systems that block hackers and viruses. Stored Tech knows the root cause is actually good people doing bad things. So we offer a security training program which includes certifying all participants to show they understand the basics.
Technology solutions for computers, networks, and phones. Stored Tech, your technology, our passion.